This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, thank you guys. So let's start. So do you remember that, guys? In the last session we have started, we were discussing about stateful services, right? And we deployed one database, we deployed one application, and we saw that how even if you try to deploy the delete the pods which has been created by using the stateful service, right? It gets the same name and same IP address kind of stuff, right? So there was one concept in the along with the stateful set, and that is called as a headless service, right? So we'll finish this headless service, and then we'll go for the topic called as maintenance, node maintenance, as well as application maintenance. Okay, node maintenance and application maintenance. And if time permits, then we'll definitely go for the application stack deployment. So deploy the entire application stack, like as a back end, as a front end, that kind of stuff we'll try to do complete it today. Now we have seen in the last session what is the stateful services, right? So in that one, now we would like to discuss about the headless service. So let's just recap for the stateless service, guys. What is the stateful set service? Let me just start this properly. Yeah. Okay, so it is basically used for the stateful application and distributed systems where you need a networking, or the name of the pod should be persistent, right? In that time, we require the stateful set. Distributed system is nothing but, let's say you have the multiple, you have a database, and in the database you want to mark one as a master database for the writing operations, and one as a another one as a pod as a read operation for the read operations, right? How we can do that, right? Because for the database connectivity we need a static persistent IP address, and that is provided by the stateful sets. So if you delete the pod in the stateful set, it will automatically create also, and it will create with the same name. We have seen that SQL0, SQL1, SQL2, like that one, right? Do you remember that? But if you delete the any a particular pod, it will get created with the same name and same IP address. That is what we have seen. It has a stable network identity. Okay, so whenever we delete the pods, right, it gets deleted from the reversal order, right? So if you have a pod number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number pod will get deleted first, then 4 number, 3 number, 2 number, and 1. So it goes along with the, it deletes the pod in the reverse direction. Okay. So now in this, we are supposed to now discuss about the headless service, but what is a headless server? Before that, let me just try to draw the diagram over here. Guys, think about, this is your cluster, and in cluster you have pods here, right? This is my pod 1, pod 2, and let's say pod 3 is there. Think about a stateless application, kind of a deployment kind of application, right? Is deployed in your let's say cluster, and all these pods have a different IP addresses, different names, right? Every time when you delete these pods, it gets the new IP address, it gets the new pods. So if you have an application running inside this pod, how do we access the application from the outside? What is the requirement for this one? What you need? You need a service, right, guys? You need a service. So let's say that this is the service. Why do we need a service? What is the need of it? Always we say that we need a service to access the application from the outside or within the cluster or something like that. We can use a cluster IP address, we can use a node IP address, we can use the load balancer kind of service to access the application. What if this service is not present? We be able to access it? We can access, but within the cluster itself. Otherwise, you have to access the every container separately, every pod separately. And how you can give the connection to the outside person, right? So if your customer asks you the link that please provide me the link of your application, and if your pods IP addresses and names are changing every time, what kind of a link you are going to provide to the customer, right? You will not be able. So we will not be able to provide that, right? So what you need a static IP address, you need a persistent IP address in front of your application. And at any cost, in case anything goes wrong with this pod and pod is getting recreated, and if the IP address is changing of the pod or irrespective of its name, the service IP address remains constant. So why this particular concept has come into picture? Because the non-persistent behavior of the pods in the stateless application type, so right, and because of that service birth has happened, right? Okay, now think about this. So this is the service. People will try to access it from the outside, and this will behave like a load balancer, and it will distribute the traffic to it. And each service will get the IP address here. So whenever the traffic is coming here, let's say it is coming on the port number 80 of the service, or maybe some other port, let's say. Who is taking care of transferring the traffic from the service to the specific pod? There should be some mechanism in the background which is running in the worker nodes, right? Which will take care, or which will definitely which will help the traffic to reach to the specific pod. Correct? Yes. So there is something called as a kube proxy here. In each worker node, there is something called as a kube proxy. And what is the job of the kube proxy here? Job of the kube proxy is that whenever you create a service, and if there are healthy pods are there, the IP addresses of these pods are entered, or its entry of the endpoints of this particular pod has been mentioned inside the service. So it keeps, the kube proxy keeps the record of all the IP addresses of the pods which are behind that service. So that service will understand, oh, these are my pods to whom I need to send the traffic. So first of all, adding the endpoints to the healthy pods inside the service, this is one thing. Another important thing is that whenever there is a traffic coming on any port, that traffic has to be forwarded to some port of the pod. So kube proxy modifies or adds or deletes, or let's say modifies the rules of the IP tables. The kube proxy actually plays a very important role here to divert the traffic or forward the traffic from the service port to the pod port, and also maintains the entry of the IP addresses or network identity of the pods inside the service, so that service will understand which endpoints are there. The moment you delete the pod, it will recreate the pod, it will have the different name, it will have the different IP addresses that will be informed to the kube proxy. Kube proxy will alter the rule, right? And it will also modify the entry inside the service. Okay, so this is the case of stateless one, right? I hope that everybody has understood this one. Now think about the situation that my pod has a static IP address. My pod has the same IP address. My pod has the same name every time when it is coming up. do I need this service then? Do I need the service? Customer can we can assign the IP address directly to the customer, right? To the particular pod, we can use that IP address or the name of the, or maybe the DNS name of the pod, because it is always static, even though you delete the pod anytime in the case of stateful set. So we can give the assign the IP address to the pod, and we can just do the DNS manipulation. One second, guys. Okay, sorry guys. So do we need a service over there, right? If in case of the stateless, right? We don't require, in case the IP addresses are common, static, or name is static, something like that. So we can create a service. Of course, we require a service. The reason is that we need to do the load balancing and all other stuff. So we need some layer of the service, networking layer, where which will distribute the traffic. But here we don't require an IP address to the service. If I'm creating a cluster IP address here, right? So that cluster IP address service does not require the IP address. And that is called as the headless service. The service which does not have the IP address is called as the headless service. And this is only possible in the case of stateful set. So you will create a service, but it will not have an IP address. So whenever the traffic comes here, right? So then where the service will, because this who will take care of the endpoints, right? This kube proxy is maintaining the endpoints in the service list. And the moment this pod goes down, or if by chance it is changing the IP address, right? So the kube proxy will alter the or modify this table, but it name will remain same. It will name will never get changed. In case IP address get changed, but your pod name will never get changed. And that is the beauty of these headless services, guys. So what is the headless service? Headless service is nothing but there is no IP address assigned to the service, and altering the or forwarding the traffic, the rule, or adding the endpoint inside the service is the job of the kube proxy. Okay, I hope that you have understood. This is a small but very important concept of the headless service. If you have any questions, please ask me.
Can you redefine the headless ones, please?
Headless service is nothing but a service which doesn't have IP address.
Okay.
And how does stateless differ from
Scenario?
headless? Because it is just the same.
Sonali, please come again. What is it?
How do you differ between the two, headless and the stateless? Are they?
Yeah, this is the example. See here. We say that cluster IP address none. So the service definition is same like other service definitions, right? But when you specify that cluster IP is none, it becomes headless service.
Any live example where we use it, like
You can use for the wherever the, see, now this is the example, best example we have for the Elasticsearch for the logging purpose. If you are creating a daemon or you are creating a pod or application which is going to run in the, let's say, worker nodes, and you want to access them, but very important thing is that if this is a stateless service, a stateful set service, okay, so in that case you can say that this is my pod which is a stateful set and it doesn't require any cluster IP address. So this is the best example. So how the traffic will come? It will reach to the service called as this is Elasticsearch service, and it will forward to the app Elasticsearch pods wherever you find this particular mapping, and from that it will forward to the ports. if there are, let's say 10 ports are there or something like that, it will forward, 10 ports are there, it will forward to the different ports on the of the Elasticsearch pods. So forwarding of the traffic rules has been maintained by the kube proxy.
So
Yeah, and
Ramesh,
for the, yeah, that is absolutely correct. Vivek is saying absolutely correct that you don't require a load balancer for the, if you, because you have only one master node, that time you don't require the load balancer. Yeah. Another question?
so Ramesh, this is mainly for I would say more of a daemon services where the headless is used, or in real time, is it how I understand logging like that?
Yeah, daemon services are really the example of the headless services. There is no other discussion. There is no other doubt about that. Okay, but still you can create the other stateful services such as the backend services like your database or something like that, right? And you can have a stateful set for that. You can define the stateful set for that. And whenever you are defining stateful set, you can use the service headless service for that.
But for a database also, we need a NLB, right? A load balancer. Like if the traffic is high on one of the cluster server, it has to go to the, it will be routed to the second one.
Yeah, if it is a master node, okay, master node is used for the write, and there is
Right.
always
Yeah.
one master node, right? So we'll have one service for that. So if you have a if you have a slaves, then you can have a load balancer for that. And if you are creating a different master database servers, which are a master database servers, then definitely it will require a load balancer. But in real scenario, we have only one master node database, master node of the database, which has a write capability. Correct case?
Ramesh,
Mhm.
Ramesh, um, means in our stateful sets, the name of the pod are not changed as well as the IP are not getting changed. But
See,
here
IP
you
address,
mentioned,
normally IP address doesn't get changed, but there is no there is possibility that it can get changed, but name always remains same for sure. I have shown you that last time multiple times that the possibility of getting the IP address same again and again to the stateful set services is a higher probability, but the name is always same.
yeah, means here also means in this service
Mhm.
we need to means use the stateful set. Uh, means
Yeah,
not the
yes,
normal deployment. Yeah.
correct, correct. Huh. Okay, guys, just give me 1 second. Yeah, thank you, Piyush. Okay. Yeah, I'm back, guys. Now, is it now visible? Yeah, cool. Hmm. Yeah, with that kind of algorithm you can write in case master down. You that depends totally how you are directing the traffic and how you are writing the algorithm. It differs from the company to company. Okay. Okay. Arun is asking if the kube proxy stops working, can we install another master node? So basically, this is kube proxies available on the each worker node, Arun. Okay, so if something goes wrong with the kube proxy of the worker node, that means that worker node is unhealthy. So your master node will eliminate that while scheduling the pods on that. What is the
Yeah,
version of?
I'm
Yeah.
asking actually for the master node
Mm-hmm.
problem because we have one master node. So
Mm-hmm.
if it goes bad, so how we can add it or how we can recover back or
No,
something
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no, no. In the production, you should have multiple masters.
Yeah, even production also we have this kind of problems.
No, that has a solution. We will discuss about that one. In the production,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
we can take care of that one, we'll discuss in the high availability discussion. Okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay, all right. So in that case, how to rebuild that, you will come to know that. Okay. We will mainly use for DB Elasticsearch. Okay, thank you. Any other question comes in your mind, guys? I hope that you understood about the headless service. So it is a service which is doesn't have the IP address. Okay,
Yeah,
and we will.
one more question. So the problem is sometimes we require to give access to third-party applications to access the control node. So here we require have ingress proxy, and and at that time we require to know what is the version of the software and how to create the certificates for communication. And once we create the certificate for communication, then we have to do the provide the queue config for the third-party applications to access for the controller so that it can do deployment directly.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is not actually it is a little bit complex, but if you can throw some light on that when you have some time.
Okay, sure, sure. I think you can ask this question in the high availability discussion. I think that time we can discuss in more. We can spend more time on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can have a more clarity.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So we have discussed about the unit containers earlier. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll discuss about the another topic called as a very important topic called as a maintenance and troubleshooting. So this is one of the important topic, guys, maintenance and troubleshooting. So, so when we say that normally we need to carry out certain maintenance activity on the your nodes, maybe on the sometime on the master node also, specific master node. If you have multiple master nodes, and if you want to do the maintenance activity on the one master node, or if you want to perform the activities on the worker node, what are the precautions and what are the steps that you should follow? Okay, and we will be doing one exercise also. So consider the one scenario that, guys, let's say that this is you have a master node and this is your worker node, and you have some one pod is running on the worker node, and you want to carry out this particular activity on the worker node 1. But right now application is running on this worker node inside the pod. So if you want to carry out the activity, what you need to do, first of all, couple of things. First thing is that we need to isolate this worker node, because if any administrator or developer tries to deploy the new deployment, and if it goes to the scheduler and scheduler says that my worker 1 node 1 is also available, my worker node 2 is also available, 3 is also available, then it will try to deploy the new applications on the worker node 1. Then it will become difficult. So we have to make the worker node unschedulable, unscheduled. We have to keep in that property so that if any new deployment is coming up, it will eliminate this node and it will deploy on the another worker nodes. This is the first step that you need to carry out. Once you stop deployment on this worker nodes, then what we can do, then we have to we have to do the eviction of these pods which are running right now. Let's say you have isolated this worker node, but what to do about this application which is running on this one? So we need to remove this application, or we need to migrate this application to another worker node. And once all the applications are removed from this one, or once all the applications are evicted from this particular worker node, then this worker node is in the isolation, as well as it doesn't have any application, running inside that. So what you can do, then you can do the complete maintenance activity. And once the activity is completed, then you can again join this particular worker node with the master node. So you make it schedulable so that scheduler and API server will try to deploy the applications again. So this is the way we should do it now. Okay. Now, okay. Friends, so let me now show you how to do this. So how we can isolate the worker node from the how we can make it unschedulable. So that activity is called as cordoning the node. So we'll cordon the node. Okay, that is one thing is done. Then how we can evict it? Eviction is done by using a command called as a drain command. So we will do this exercise, guys, quickly now. But before that, let me see if I have access to my cluster because there was some problem. So see here, these are the multiple worker nodes. This is what I was trying to say. Okay, and you can use kubectl cordon to mark the node as unschedulable. So this is the first thing that you should do. And once it is uncordoned, then you can drain it gracefully. It is very important that it should be gracefully. So it will terminate all the pods and it will start the pods on another worker node, if it is the case of the deployment, right? And okay, and once the activity is done, once the maintenance activity is done on the specified worker node, please uncordon that one so that it will become a schedulable. So this is the way we have to do the maintenance, node maintenance activity. Okay, so any question about this one, this slide? Then we are going to do it. We'll be doing the exercise on this.
So Ramesh, this the pattern is cordon, drain, and uncordon, right? That's how it works out, correct? That's how we have to remember it and do it. Or if I after cordon, if I do uncordon, will it work, or is it like I have to do one by one step only?
No, first of all, you have to cordon it, then you have to drain it, you have to complete the maintenance activity, and once activity is done, then you have to do the uncordon. This is a sequence, right, Abhiram? Okay.
Okay.
In case of EKS, we only maintain worker. Yeah, that is true. So we need to do the node maintenance activity. Then we don't have any master node. We don't have to take care of the master node. Yes. Somebody was asking some question.
So we have a chance of doing that node as no schedule through taint also, right? I guess.
Yes, we can do that also. Because cordoning, if you are doing the cordoning, right, behind that it is actually happening a tenting only. I will show you that.
Oh,
Ramesh, just one question. Actually, I have raised one question. So suppose
Yeah.
like one of your node is doing some processing, okay, and you want to isolate it, means like you want to make it down for the maintenance. So how to check whether the activities has been completed for that particular node before we make it down?
Yeah, that is very important. That we need to do manually. The point here is that how we'll come to know that the question is very good. Question is what is question of the Ramesh is that how we can make sure that the entire activity on the worker one has been completely done. Then only you can down. So what you need to do normally, the way we follow in the organization, that you have to schedule the activity that's on the specific day. There will be activity, and you have to send the email. And after that, let's say that if your activity is at the 7 p.m., you have to inform to the all the stakeholders that by 5 p.m. the application will be isolated. So complete your task. Okay, and you can give the 1 hour of the, let's say, margin area over there, and at 6 p.m. you can complete shutdown that. That is the only way, because if the customers are having access, then we don't have a control on them unless and until we don't stop the traffic coming over there.
No, that's
Are you
okay.
there?
But like, suppose in case if some of the pod is having a long running transaction which takes some time, even like after saying that suppose the downtime will start at 7 p.m. in the evening, and anyhow the long running transaction take more time. So how to means, my question is like
Yeah,
find
there
out.
is only one way, Rami. I got your question, and there is only one way. As an administrator, we will not be able to come to know that. Only one way is that checking the logs of the application. If you have a logs of the application, then only it is possible. Otherwise, no. We
Okay, to
can
check.
check the we can check the logs of the pods. That we can do. But
So to
if you
check
check the
like
logs of the pod logs will be from the administrative perspective. But whatever the application is running inside the pod, there should be some logging mechanism which will help us to understand whether it is done or not.
Yeah, I can answer this.
sorry.
Yeah, because I work in production support, so we are from application support. So whenever there is such maintenance activity, we'll be like, if it is a production thing, we'll get notified 1 week before itself. So based on that, we plan accordingly on that weekend.
Yeah,
So once we
absolutely.
bring all our services, then the maintenance will start.
No, Akhil, I
And
got it. But like, see, there might be any bad day. Like, we have tried for we are suppose making the worker node 1 down for a maintenance, but somehow that's the particular pod or application is taking some time, right? There might, because I have seen it, because like I have worked on integration server, so many times we can see that even like after saying that we are doing for maintenance, but there are some long transaction, we maybe due to some bad time it takes more time, so that time we cannot take the server everything down
Yeah, absolutely
unless
correct. And that
it is
Ramesh, that is actually your application, right?
correct. But application will be running on the pod, right? Means like
Huh.
and everything.
Right. So only
I'm
one way is
talking
there. Only one way is there to check the logs of the application. No other way is there.
But Ramesh,
okay.
here the thing is like, whether you do cordon or make for maintenance means that what I understand is existing transaction is going to run. It does not stop. But the one new transaction will not take, right? That's how the basics are, right? Because looks like if a long transaction is running, even though if
Yeah.
I issue for cordon, so existing transaction will still run. So there is a risk there. But the new transaction will not be taken, right? Is it how I understand?
Yeah,
Correct.
you're
You are
correct.
absolutely correct. You are
So what happens normally is like we have n number of means like services where we make front end system down, then we switch to back end system, and then to other uh,
correct.
up system. So we make note that now the front end is down, nobody will be able to access. But in back end system, there might be some services or application which on that particular day is taking time, so we cannot make it down suddenly. It's a
Right.
lot
You
of
are absolutely
transaction.
correct. Yeah,
But
you are absolutely
Ramesh,
correct.
there is no way I can existing transaction I can kill it. I don't know. Maybe that's a because if it is a maintenance,
But
it's a maintenance. So I
No,
cannot
no, no.
go and do anything, or
See,
is it
I
that
will
I
tell you
have
guys.
to?
so
I will tell you what
so
is the solution for this one. Can you just hold on? Let me just
yeah.
explain this one. If the transaction, which is, let's say you have scheduled the activity on certain time, okay, you have declared it. However, there is some transaction which is not completed, even though it is nearing the time of the activity. Then you have to take a call whether the transaction which is going on is important for the business point of view. If it is very important from the business point of view, then you have your management or whoever is the in charge of that one has to take a call that whether to postpone this activity or not. Okay, if the application owner says that even though if this transaction is not getting completed, it's fine, I will stop this application and you continue with that transaction maintenance activity because this transaction is not that much important. Okay, so these are the calls need to be taken by the management team or who are there as in charge. And another important thing is that how we can find out there is activity going on in the pod or not related to application or database. It only way is to find out by using the logs. Only the application owner or database owner will be able to tell us that whether these continuously logs are coming or transactions are happening or not. There is no other way.
And Ramesh, I have a question on this one. So if you're saying that we have the two worker nodes, so we are taking worker node as a take it out for the schedule maintenance. So anyhow, these two nodes are in the clustered, right? I mean, there is a session replication. So there is no matter, right? If you take it, the whatever the transaction is present, the other node can take it care of.
No, if the current transaction is in the RAM of the pod 1, let's say, which is in the worker 1, and if that is taking longer time, okay, then only the problem is there. If the pod is isolated and now another session is going on the, or another replica is there on the worker 2, and if new transaction is coming, it will go to the new worker node. But what if the current transaction is important and it is not getting closed, even though my maintenance activity time is nearing? So that
so
is
it will wait for the transaction finish, or else it's going to be killed.
So if it is a drain, if you are draining it, right, it will be gracefully doing it.
Then
right?
it's
So it
gracefully kill the session.
Right. It will allow the pods to complete the transaction, and then only it will evict it. Eviction will be done.
Okay, sounds good.
But always, as a application owner or as a database owner, we always, even though if it is done gracefully, we still feel that no, let it complete and then you do the drain. Okay, so that is a mindset of every human being, right, who are working there. Normally we don't take any risk, even though that is going to gracefully complete the transaction. Once it completes the transaction, it is going to remove it from that one, and it will evict from the worker.
But again, Ramesh, if business decide that okay, kill it, so now drain will not work, because drain is something which will logically end at that point when killing means what I need to do if the business says okay, kill it. How that is it some
kill process? Kill the
so
process.
so the kill the process is the only way, right? And there is no other, because okay, fine.
That is a hard
killing is nothing but killing the transaction. The gracefully is nothing but we need to wait until the transaction is finished. Every transaction is going to be finished, and then it's going to be the worker node is going to be able.
But
so,
actually, guys, I think there is no the discussion is going very nicely. But one thing is, please keep in mind that if the transaction is taking more time, it is very simple lining to understand. If transaction is going to take more time, but if it is important, just hold for some time. Take a call that we'll do this activity next time, and then you find out the reason why this took the transaction longer time. If it is unexpected, do the RC about it, and then next time you take care of it. That is the way we have to go. We cannot say that if I have taken the downtime right now, I will perform the activity right away. No, that's fine. So the question raised by the Ramesh was absolutely good question, and the point which we need to understand that whether to stop the transaction or not.
Management
Ramesh,
decision.
Yeah, one by one.
Ramesh, means for the AKS and EKS, means how can we perform this cordoning of the worker nodes?
Same like what we are going to do on the right now. The reason is that when you have access, you can fire the command kubectl cordon node 2. Okay, kubectl drain node 2. Okay, and once you do that, when all the pods which are running on that, it will go to the another worker node.
Okay, means we are able to fire this command from the worker node itself?
No. It is no. This is Anirban, right? Anirban, no.
Yeah.
It is not like that. This is my worker 1. This is my worker 2, and I have a jump server here. This is my jump server, like my laptop terminal, or maybe my Azure's terminal somewhere. From that place, I will take access. So I will have a kubectl config file over here, admin config file, and from this one, I will just fire a command kubectl get nodes. I will get it.
Okay, got it. Means if there will be another terminal where we can means perform this kind of
Activity.
means cordoning activity. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Because in the EKS and in the cloud native applications, it doesn't allow you to see or take access of the master node, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot perform all the activities from the master.
So Ramesh, the maintenance is for at a one time. I need to make sure one worker goes for maintenance, right? That's how I should plan, or it's like bunch of
Right.
worker also, or how that is in a real time.
So real time, you can say that if you have the set of the worker nodes, let's say that you have 5 worker nodes, right? This is one, and this is another one, is it? Okay, and this is my one pool of the workers, and this is my another pool of the worker. This is for the development, and this is my production. Okay, I can complete the activity on this one, this set of the worker nodes, and then I can go for the production. And both of them are there in the one cluster. Are you getting it? So we can divide the set of, let's say there are 6 worker nodes are there, or maybe 7 worker nodes are there. Out of that, 4 are production, 3 are your development. So based on the labeling of that one, you can devise that and divide that one, and you can carry out the activity on the each. First of all, on the development, one by one server worker node of the development, and then second worker node of the development, then third worker node of the development. And once that is done, then go for the production.
Oh yeah, I mean the development production is fine, but I was wondering. Okay, so at a time, one worker node is what you are trying to say. Okay.
Yeah, that is ideal way to do that.
Okay, because I have, if I have 100 worker node, just don't know, I can take off another 20, or maybe that
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
okay.
Then that is a call. Very nice question actually. If you have a 20 servers in the development, so I can take a bunch of 10. That way also we can do it.
Oh, but it all depends on the transaction, all those, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you have to take care of that.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
One small question, Ramesh. I think if we drain the nodes or mark the nodes as cordon, will it delete the data existing on the node as well, or no? Like the
Okay.
app or the
No,
database.
no, data is always in the some storage. Okay, it is not, and if the storage is inside the pod, okay,
Okay.
it will create a problem, right? It will be so ideally in the production boxes, we have a storage from some storage server, right? Some storage boxes, maybe from your worker node itself, hard disk, or maybe from some other hard disk, you will have the storage. So if you are
Backup kind of
because when you are draining it, right, when you are evicting the pods will be killed and the new pods will be created on the
Okay.
another worker. Yeah.
And we have to take a backup of the data.
No, if it is on the external storage, then we don't have to take.
Otherwise, we have to take if it is
Yes.
not.
No, but Ramesh, the data backup will be taken only when we have a stateful set, right? Otherwise, stateless, we don't have to worry about it, right? The overall procedure remains same, but correct?
See, basically, you tell me one thing, guys. Pod is a pod, right? And we should never store the important data inside the pod. Never ever. You should always take some partition from some storage, okay, and map that volume to the pods. If you are not doing that, then that is something which need to be worried, because anything can happen to the any worker nodes, any pods, right? So the ideal scenario is that you should have a backup of the etcd, right? When you are working on any worker nodes, something like this, or if you are working on any master nodes, so try to take a backup of the etcd, so that is a safe, so your pods will get safeguarded, but data will be need to be safeguarded inside some storage box. I hope that you understood what I said.
So, Ramesh, the etcd backup should be taken after cordon or before cordon or after drain or before? I mean, I just want to understand
Of
that.
course, before starting the activity, we should take the backup.
Oh, so the before cordon itself. Okay.
Yeah, right. In case it is a major activity, okay, because this always etcd remains in the master node, it is not on the worker nodes. But however, if you feel that no, if something goes wrong, I want to take a backup, so you can take a backup of the etcd, so that will take care of your all the YAML files and all the components, the backup of all the pods which are running inside your worker nodes. Okay, so you have the configuration backup, but what about the data? That is what the Sonali raised the question. So you should have that data on the some storage. I hope that that is clear now.
Ramesh, just one question. I don't know, but like if you are using a managed service, like where the master node control is with the vendor, then how take the backup of the etcd? Like, do we need to raise a?
I will show you that. We have a session on that one. Don't worry. I'll show you how to take a backup of it.
No, but that will be for the managed service, correct? Not like what the currently what the demo and practices what we are doing is like we have a control on HCD because we manage the master also. But in terms of managed service where we don't have the control on a master, how to take the?
Okay.
I think Ramesh, what
we'll discuss that. Huh?
Myself being a QA, what we do is we take a backup of the data on the master branch. So whenever we have to do it, we put it on the GitHub and put it on the master branch, and then we can go ahead and do cordon or drain or whatever with kubectl, and then we can proceed with the setting of the pod. Is that correct?
But Sonali, the question is like, since the master is managed by the vendor.
No, Ramesh, I got your question, and we will discuss that in little bit.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Yeah, sorry, we can take it later.
Yeah, because etcd we are going to see that etcd complete.
No problem, Ramesh. No, just since like the question has come from the backup point of view, so I'm just a little bit.
Thank you. But it is a good question. It is a good question. Okay.
Thank you.
Vivek is asking, drain will kill kube proxy, correct? No, it will not kill the kube proxy, Vivek. So let me complete the activity, guys. I hope that it will clear many doubts. Pooja is asking something about what type of activities will be done in node maintenance, like patching activity. You want to upgrade something, right? You want to upgrade the kubelet, you want to upgrade the kubectl, right? You want to do the upgrade kubeadm upgrade. Kubeadm will not come on the worker nodes. If you want to upgrade anything, security upgrades and everything, so all that system admin related to activities can be performed on the worker nodes. Okay, so let me just try to log in into my worker node, because sorry, master node, and then we'll take it further, guys. I had some problem little bit earlier, so now this is my master node. Yeah, it is. I got it. Now you can see that kubectl gate nodes. Yeah, so all of them are in the ready state. You can see that our status is in the ready state now. Kubectl. This is the question comes in the CKA exam, guys. Please note down this one. What I'm right now doing it draining is this question comes in the examination. So you can see how I'm solving this one. Kubectl. What I want to check actually? I forgot it. 1 second. CD. Oh. Piyush, is it a new server, a new machine now created? Piyush, are you there? Okay, I think it is a new machine. All right, no problem. So kubectl get pods -o wide. I think nothing is running. This is a new machine, that's why you will not find anything. You can see that kubectl get pods from the -o. Okay, then -n cube dash system. Okay, and so you can see here, this is my all the important pods which are running, guys, right? And I would like to explain that I have not explained about the daemon set, right? We will be discussing about this. Okay, once I complete this activity, then I will go for the daemon set. So this is a etcd master which is running on the master node, and it doesn't have on the worker nodes, right? So your question of the Ramesh, right? I got your question and I told you that we will discuss it later on because of this reason. Okay, because it is available on the master and it doesn't available on the other machine. So you'll see that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Let me deploy the pods now. kubectl. How to create a deployment? Can anybody tell me quickly? What should I do? Should I use create or should I use run?
Okay.
Create.
Create.
Create. Yeah.
Deployment.
Okay. What should I create? Deployment.
Deployment.
Hyphen image.
We need to give the
Name should
deployment
be
name first.
Deployment name.
Yeah.
Hyphen image equal to nginx.
which one you like? HTTPD? Okay. It is created. kubectl get deployment. All right. So I have one deployment running, but is it? Why it is not running? What is the meaning of the 0/1?
So there is
Pod
one
is not
container in the pod and none of them are running.
Okay. Can I scale it?
Yes. Scale deployment.
1 second. Huh? Yeah, it started running. I was worried about it. Okay.
Yeah.
kubectl
Scale
scale.
deploy
Yeah. Guys, you should be super faster.
app one.
Yeah, because in the examination you don't get much time. Scale is
Ramesh,
equal
hyphen replicas equal to 2. Replica
I always make this mistake. Okay. So how much you want? 5?
5. Yeah.
Now you can see that it is now started running on the my worker 1 as well as worker 2. Yeah, it is downloading the image first time. That's why it is showing like this, right? You can see it is container creating. Now, so how many images are running on the worker 1? We have 3, right? And 2. So which one you want, on which machine you would like to do the maintenance activity?
Do on 1.
0,
Okay,
1.
1, right? 1. Okay, thank you. No problem. So first of all, you check out the kubectl get ready, right? So this is also one question, get nodes. And what question comes in the examination, guys? That find out how many nodes are not ready or ready. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Yeah. What is the question comes?
How many nodes are not
Are ready. So how we can find out that? kubectl
nodes.
get nodes hyphen get hyphen I ready. So it shows that three numbers are there, and you have to count these numbers and you have to put it into the one file. So you have to create one file, touch.
Ramesh, or
Already the
can
file
you do
is,
something like status equal to ready or something like that?
no, this is because it is coming here ready, right?
Okay.
So question comes that find out how many nodes are ready, and another question comes how many are tented. So how to find out that? kubectl get nodes. How you can find out which node has been tented?
Hyphen O white. Grep hyphen I tent. Grep hyphen I tent. Something like that.
Nothing is there.
Describe.
But kubectl describe command will help you to understand for each individual one. So think about that. We are let's say now draining one node. Let's say drain it. Let's say cordon it. kubectl cordon. Which node you want? Worker 1, right? Okay, worker 1.
Worker hyphen 0.
Yeah, worker hyphen 0 1.
Ramesh, is it case sensitive? Like for grep, we need to give as a capital R only, or like?
Yeah, I have always a habit of doing that one because T is always capital there in the tent.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not sure, just use hyphen I. It will help you to understand that, right? So let me just do the tent now. No, it is not giving me from this one. Okay, can I do this way? Describe. But I have to describe each node then. describe node, describe let's say that node, and give me the, let me give you the master node, and you can find out. Yeah, there is one taint on this one, right? So master node is tainted node. Always it is tainted. Keep this in mind, guys. Okay, that's why it is not allowing us to schedule the no pods on that one. If I remove this taint, master node will also start scheduling the pod. That we are going to see in the, there is one topic, we'll see that. Let me check out another worker node, worker one.
One question. Is there any way we can
Is there any way?
So we have to use to get all the nodes using JSON path, something like that, and then run the command describe.
There is a possibility, but I don't know that one. That we need to check. I have not used that command. I think this is who was this?
Yeah, Ranjit.
Yeah, Ranjit, I have not used that command. If you have any format, let me know that. It will be good. But in the examination, you don't require that. When you just fire this simple commands, it will work.
Yeah, means Ramesh, we need to individually describe the node for searching the grep.
Yeah, that is the only thing I've. Yeah, that is the only thing I get it now.
Is there any way we can describe the cluster?
Is there any way
to describe the cluster, like entire cluster?
Let me check out. No, it is not available like that. kubectl describe cluster. That way you are saying no. I don't think so. No. Okay.
Ramesh, one quick question. So we have like nodes, right? Let's say you want to check nodes which are ready. You did grep-i ready. Let's say I want to pull list of nodes that are not ready, like negation of ready. So how do you do that?
Not ready, right? So not ready will come here only. So right now, if you see kubectl get nodes now, you'll be able to see that one is not ready. This one.
Yeah,
See,
that's fine. But let's say I have like hundreds of nodes in a huge broad cluster. I have hundreds of nodes. How do I do
AWK,
nodes that?
AWK.
Sorry, Ramesh, I didn't get that.
There is a one command in the Linux AWK.
Okay.
Yeah,
awk. That will help you to do that.
Can we try it here?
You need this one. Oh my God, kubectl get nodes 5. Guys, please help me in case I am going wrong somewhere.
I mean, I'm not much into Linux, so I just want to see.
Yeah, it is a need of time, guys. Please learn that Linux as quickly as possible. Yeah. So it is giving me the second status, and from that one I need to find out
$1.
$1. No, it
Will
will
give
not
the name of the node.
You can give print $1, $2, so that it will give you the name and status. Yeah, just one space. Yeah.
Okay. And out of that, if you want to just find out who are ready, then I think you can, if you want to find out how many of them are ready and how, because there is only if any worker node is ready, it will have only ready word, right? So we have to find out the line who matches this ready word from the $2.
Or you can filter out using grep -v ready, then you will find which is not ready.
You can omit that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can give I for ignoring the case. -v I.
Is it correct?
Yeah, that will be removed out. -v will be removed out.
Yeah, I can use this one, right?
Yeah.
No, this you need to write some other logic because it is taking up this word as it is. So So need to write some other code for this, but you can use AWS. Yeah, you can use
yeah. Thanks, Ramesh.
All right, let's focus on the. Let me complete the exercise, guys. Then ask the question. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete exercise. So kubectl get nodes. So right now we have disabled the pods. Kubectl get pods -o wide, but still some of the pods are running on the worker 2. Look at this. This is worker 2, worker 2. Sorry, I have done the worker 1, right? So on the worker 1, there are 3 pods are running. Now we want to evacuate these pods so that we can work on the worker 1. But guys, please keep this in mind. When I fired the command cordon, what has happened behind kubectl describe? You can go to the worker 1, node worker 1, and look at this. So when we coordinate, see what it is done. It has just can you see somewhere tent? This is allocated. Okay, it shows that not node not schedulable. This is one thing. But another also information should be available. This is unschedulable is equal to true, and there is a tent. So there is no cordon such condition available here, right? It will be tent condition. So whenever you are cordoning anything, it is actually tenting, guys. So please keep this in mind. So if somebody says that what is the difference between tenting and cordoning? So basically cordoning is itself is tenting it. Okay. Now kubectl get nodes. Now what I want to do, I want to evacuate the pods. So let me create, let me just start one more duplicate session so that you can watch it. Okay guys, now see here. What happened to it? Okay, let's watch it now. Watch kubectl get pods -o wide. Okay, so these are some of the pods which are running on the worker 1. Okay, now let me drain this one. So whenever we fire one command called as a drain on the worker 01, what will happen? It will give me the error. Okay, it will give me the error. What error it is giving? It is saying that look, I have other pods also. I have a daemon sets. So which are the daemon sets available on the worker nodes? So you can find out kubectl get pods -o wide from the kube system, right? So all your daemon sets are available inside the kube system. So you can see that on the worker 1 we have kube proxy and we have a view network. So these two daemon sets are there. So it is saying that what this command says when we use the kubectl drain command, it says that I am not ready to evacuate the daemon sets. So what you should do then, you should use the command -- ignore daemon set is equal to true. And the moment I fire this command, what it will do, it will keep these two daemon pods as it is, and it will evacuate all other pods which are running on the worker 1. So all these 3 pods will get evicted now. This pod, and this one. So this is important. Now you can see here, it is terminating and it is creating a container on another worker node. So it is saying that right now I'm started evicting the pods which are running on the worker 1. It has been evicted now. The moment it starts running on the second worker node, it will say evicted here on the first node. Look at this. Now all your pods have started running on the worker 2. Can you see? All right, and this is what the question is in the examination, and that is your. This is what you need to do. 3 commands. Which are the 3 commands you need to fire? kubectl get nodes. This is first command. Second command, you need to find out kubectl cordon. Let's say whatever the worker node is specified in the paper that you need to use, 01, something like that. Then you have to use the command kubectl what is that command? Kubectl drain, right? Hyphen ignore daemon set
Ramesh, we need to give the node name.
is equal to true. Yes, you can give the node name, and you can give the node name at the end also. This will also work. Or else you can use node name later first also, and this way also it will work. This way also it will work. And that's it. So this will solve your question. This is one of the question in the examination. Okay, now what has happened now? Our node has been cordoned, all the pods has been evicted, but not daemon sets. So if you see here kubectl get pods from the kube system, you will be able to see that my daemon set view as well as kube proxy is running as it is. Okay, and now you think about this exercise. Let's say that you have these pods. All of them are running on the worker 2. What will happen if I scale up it? Kubectl scale deployment space app1 hyphen replicas is equal to, let's say, if I make it 9. So where this will get started now, all the replicas, will it start on the worker 1 or worker 2?
Worker 2 only.
Worker 2 only.
Look at this. So it has started creating a containers, and all of them are starting on the worker 2 only, because worker 1 is right now it is unschedulable. It doesn't have it. No new pods will be entertained on the worker 1. And this now I can worker 1 doesn't have anything. Now we can perform all the activities on the worker 1. Once it is said that all the activities has been completed on the worker 1, then guys, what you can do, kubectl, let's say get nodes, kubectl uncordon. Which node? Worker -01. The moment you say that uncordon, look at this. Now it comes into ready state and all other has gone away. So if you describe this pod, kubectl describe node worker -01 and grep -I taint. So there is no taint over here. See, now there is no taint. So the moment you uncordon it, taint has been removed. Now if I try to scale up the application, let's see if I want to start 2 more replicas. Now will it accommodate on the worker 1 as well? Now yes, it is ready, so it will accommodate. Now you can see here. It has started creating a new 2 containers of the worker 1. It has started. So now your pod is ready to accept it. But earlier pods which has been evicted from the worker 1 to worker 2, they will not come back like that, right? So you need to, if you want to do that, then you have to scale down and scale up it again. Probably some of the pods will come on the worker 1. So this is your node maintenance activity, how to carry out the node maintenance activity, and these are the number of activities that need to be followed. I hope that this is clear now. Okay.
Hey Ramesh,
Ramesh,
is
how
it
this work
possible
in
for
case of AKS or EKS?
AKS or AKS, what you said?
Yeah, do the node maintenance applicable in case of AKS or EKS? Will this scenario arise?
Yes, it can. Yeah, that is possible. That possibility is there.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
No problem. You can go ahead, Ranjit, if you have any question.
What are those scenarios? Can you give any example that in case of A case or E case, will this scenario arise? What kind of maintenance we do on those nodes?
The software which you are using for the pods, okay, application which is deployed on the pods, it may require some different let's say security patches, or maybe something called as OS patches are required. Okay, so that time you can do that activity.
But the patches will require reboot, right, Ramesh?
Yeah. Normally patches do require the reboot because
Okay, but in case of E case or A case, right? So we'll be using auto scaling kind of feature, right? So the moment we'll reboot, the new node will come, right? This node will be terminated, right?
yeah, so you have to create I think you have to create the image out of it, and then uh, yeah, you are true. That is absolutely correct what you are saying. But
So Ramesh, this AKS means like, so if I'm migrating from 1.17 to 1.18 or 1.20, so that's also part of maintenance, or is that not a maintenance?
that is also part of the maintenance, because
At a
AWS will
cluster
not.
level, right? That's at a cluster level, right? It's not at a worker node. So it's like overall cluster level AKS I'm
No,
migrating, right?
no. See, basically, if you want to upgrade the kubectl, kubeadm, or kubectl commands, that is also part of the maintenance activity. If you want to upgrade the versions of that, okay. Another one is that you want to upgrade some of the OS patches which are available on the some explicit patches which are not being provided by the AWS or maybe Azure, and your application requires that additional plugins and their upgradation of their versions. So that time you'll require it. You need to do some maintenance activity. If you want to add some plugins, new plugins, or if you want to upgrade some OS related patches, or you want to add some additional security related patches, that time you need to do some maintenance activity, even though they are on the AWS and EKS. The possibility is there. It is not, you cannot ignore that.
Ramesh, I have one question. This is Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek.
So in case of stateless, when you have a static pod, or maybe you need to, let's say your databases are running on one worker node, your master database is running on one worker node and your replica is on another worker node, and you need to do some maintenance activity on master pod, which is your database on worker one. In that case, what will be the scenario? I just want to check if you can show us that.
So you were saying that you have the
stateless application.
stateless,
Yeah.
And you say that you have the this is the one pod which is on the worker
this is master
one.
Yeah, this is master, and that's my read replica on pod 2. But both are different worker nodes. Worker 1, pod 1, worker 2, pod 2.
So this is your read replica and this is your master replica, right? Write replica rather than
Correct. Now I'm doing a worker 1 maintenance activity. In that case, this is stateless application, right? A stateless I would say service. I don't know what. Yeah, but what I need, what consideration we need to take care on this in this scenario?
Yeah, it is very, now this is good one. So basically, before migrating this one, or before doing the activity on the worker one, so you want this to be evicted from one place to another place, right? This has
Because
to be
I cannot create a new pod with a new name and new IP, right? Because it's a stateless, we need to keep the same IP, same name of the pod.
I got your question now. I got your question. So Vivek, where we define that this is my master database and this is my read database, we define in the application. When we create the service, right? In the service, we define that move the traffic to this one as a this becomes my master, this becomes my read. There is a itself database is a database pod, and in the database we don't write that this is my master database or this is my
okay, so we may need to promote this read replica as master and then shut down this pod, or right?
Yes, or you can start what you can scale up it master, and you can move that one to the another worker node, and you can say that now This will be my master node, and you can evict that one particularly from this place to another place.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Okay. Abhiram is saying, meaning we never do maintenance for daemon. Yeah, we do the maintenance for the daemon in case if at all you are upgrading the. So basically, it is upgradation of the components which of the maybe master node. And if you have the, let's say, view network, and you want to upgrade that view network from view to the flannel, or maybe there is a version upgradation for the view, or maybe the version upgradation for the kube proxy, that time you have to do this activity, Abhiram.
Okay, got it. So the daemon also gets into, because I was just thinking like worker or master would be, but daemon may not be. But again, so okay. But again, that if the ViewNet or anything like that, so but we will have to only do, right? It is not something which okay, someone else. Okay.
No. We have to do that. We have to do that. There is
Okay.
one activity in our syllabus that is called as the upgrading the worker nodes and master nodes. So that time I will show you how to upgrade from the, let's say I have my cluster is running on, let's say 1.18.0 something, and I want to upgrade this one. So we can upgrade that. How to upgrade that? That time I think you will be able to understand that. So it will upgrade your kube ADM, it will upgrade your kubectl, it will upgrade your kubelet as well. So accordingly, whatever the logic, whatever the let's say the daemons which are there inside it, they will also get upgraded in case they require to do.
Oh, so it's automatically okay.
Yeah, when you do the upgrade plan command is there, right? Upgrade apply command is there, it will do the automatic stuff. But that till that time you need to do all the steps manually. Okay.
So okay, other was on my taint. So actually, I was thinking status as something else, but you indicated that it's a taint is the one which is says as cordon, right? Okay.
Yes, correct. Okay, guys, so this is clear now. Okay, now let's move ahead from this particular node maintenance activity to the another important thing, that is how to find out something has gone wrong with my pods, how to check the logs, right? So that is what the activity is there. So let's now move to the next topic. So application troubleshooting now. So let's see that. So before that one, how to do the Kubernetes control plane troubleshooting, right? So it is not something called as a maintenance activity or something. Troubleshooting. Something is not running properly in the Kubernetes control plane. There is some daemons it is not running properly, or something has gone wrong. How to find out whether it is down or not? So what are the different issues comes in the control plane? That kube system process is having issue, kubelet daemon has some issues, right? There is something called as Docker daemon. So basically, Docker daemon, kubelet daemon, these are the OS related activities. Yeah, you have some API server related issues, you have some kube system related issues. Whatever the issues are coming, okay, that comes as a control plane. So, and if you want to troubleshoot that issues, how to do that one? Let's see that. So usually, if you want to troubleshoot something, you need to have the logs. You need to check the logs. So where you can get the logs of the kubelet, whether there is a problem with the kubelet or not. How you can find out there is a problem with the Docker or not? Is this a cluster level component? Is the kubelet cluster level component? Is the Docker cluster level component? No, they are not a cluster level components. I mean, as a daemon, they are not a cluster level component. They are the operating system level component. So if you want to find out any logs related to kubelet or Docker, where you will get it? You will get inside the location called as something called as var log, where you get all journal logs, right? So there you can find out. So inside the var log, there is a syslog folder. Inside that you will find out what is happening with the kubelet or what is happening with the Docker daemon. And in the examination also, you have to troubleshoot the kubelet and Docker daemon. That question comes in the examination, guys. So now you can focus it. So If your web server is not running, so how do we troubleshoot? We go to the var-log Apache and there you check the logs. So the first step of troubleshooting is checking the logs. But if you don't know where to check the logs, then it creates a problem, right? So let's see that how to check the logs, where it can be available for you. So these are the paths which are available. So all the daemon logs related to kubelet and Docker can be found from the command called as. So let me show you here. So this is my master node, and here kubelet and kubectl is available, or Docker is available. And if I want to check the logs of it, first of all, I will check whether my daemon is running or not by using this command, right? Docker. So here you can find out whether it is running or not. So this is the first step. If it is down and if you want to check the logs, then what you can do, tail hyphen, let's say 100f var log syslog. I think in the Ubuntu syslog is there. In Red Hat or CentOS it will be messages, and you can find out here. You can check the logs of it. You need to identify where these logs are there, right? So right now everything is running fine. That's why it will not show you any logs. But there are certain logs about the view network. There is something coming here. But there are no logs about the Docker. So if I want to find out that, how I can find out? Cat. If at all you want to find out related to Docker, you can use grep command -i Docker. So all the logs related to Docker will come here in case you want to search something. Okay. Now, if you want to check, we are going to do that activity, guys, how to troubleshoot it. So give me some time. If you want to check the logs related to kubelet, you can use this command. And you can find out all the logs related to the kubelets. Okay, so you can find out if you want to search anything about it, you can find out from this particular logs. So kubelet logs are not the system related, not the cluster level logs. You can find out it from the system logs only. Okay, I hope that this is clear now for the kubelet and kubedium. Now, every node you can find out the daemon logs at the var log syslog. But where you can find out the pod level logs, because kube system, this is my worker node, right? Or maybe my Kubernetes control plane. The kube system is the one of the important because it is something related to networking, IP addresses, services, and everything. And if my kube system pod is behaving abnormally, then how I can check the logs of the kube system pod, right, guys? So you can find out inside at the location on the master node, you can find out at the var log pods. So there is a location where you can find out this, or you can use the command, or you can also find out the container related logs at the var lib docker containers location. Or you can also find out the logs by using the command called as kubectl logs. So that I will show you. So look at these guys. On the master nodes, you can find out the logs related to pods in the var log pods, and container related logs you can find out inside the Docker area that is called as a var lib docker. So I will take you to that location and show you that how the logs looks like. And then you'll come back to the how to check the logs by using the kubectl command. Okay, so let me go to the master node, and you can see here there's a var lib location, and hopefully there is something called as var lib docker, right? So let me just go there. Can you see somewhere about the pods? No, I don't see anything here. But I can see about the Docker. It is showing related to view. Can you see something about the kube proxy here? It is not showing. So let me go to the Docker.
I can see kubelet over there, right next to the Docker line.
Right. It is kubelet related stuffs. Okay, but
Weave is also there towards the end. Yeah.
Okay, its information is available. Then there is a pods. You can see here these pods, and individual pods are there, and inside that you will find out the information about that pod. So that is there. Volumes are there, containers are there. So if you want to see how many containers are there, you can see here. There's a core DNS container. Now, if you want to find out the more information about the core DNS, you can see here. So that will go on and on, guys, right? So this is a actually pod area, kubelet area. But how we can find out the logs related to containers? So you can use the command cd/var/lib/docker, and in this area you can find out all the information related to containers, right? So I can go inside the container folder and I can find out the more information about it. These are the so many containers available. Okay, but if I want to find out this is not readable, right? So how I can check the logs? So what I can do, kubectl get pods -o, let's say from the kube system. So there is one pod called as a kube proxy, right? Can you see here? This is my kube proxy pod, but where it is running? Okay, it is running on the all the nodes, right? See here, and it has a container as well. One container is there, one pod and one container. So what is the meaning of 2 of 2? It has two containers, right?
Two
There are two
containers.
containers in the pod and
Both
both
are
are
running.
Yeah, both are running, correct. Okay, so now if I want to find out the logs related to pod, I can use kubectl logs, and let's say that I want to find out related to this one. Oh, okay, I need to give the namespace. What is the issue?
I think you have to specify logs pod space.
I think you need to get the container name, I guess.
Right. So from this one, I need to find out the container name. But for that purpose, I need to get if I want to see the logs of the pod also, it should come, right? No, this is not right. Yeah, because there might not be logs of this particular at the pod level, and that's why it is not giving me the output. So how I can find out the container? So I have a container called as a view unit here. And if I want to find out the logs of container, then how I can see? So there is a pod, and inside that pod, I want to check the logs of the container. So kubectl
So Ramesh,
logs.
is there a way we can list all the containers in a pod?
I think you have to go to worker node and execute docker command, docker container ps or docker ps or docker container ls, something like that. It will be in worker nodes.
No, that is okay, but I can check it from the pod level. 1 second. I can
When I
see
do
that.
Docker PS, it brings up all the containers, but I don't know which container is in which pod, right?
No, that you can find out from this one, Docker kubectl describe. And if I find out the pod, okay, what is this? This is a pod, right? And I can easily find out the container name from this one. This is not a pod here. Oh, yeah.
Dash.
Oh, I am mistake. I am doing this mistake. I am not providing this one. That's why it is not showing here. And in this one, you can see, you can find out the container information. So this is my view NPC is a container name.
Okay.
This is container ID. This way you can find out. So all the containers information, it has this container. It has a view container, and you have another container called as this is init container. Yeah, view NPC. Yeah, these two containers are there. And if I want to find out the logs of this, I can find out. So how do I do that? So
Which
I
was
have this
the command you used to get to this page?
describe.
Can you just go put one up arrow? on this?
Acha, 1 second. Let me just pick up the container name. This is view container, right? So let me take this one.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, this is the command I have used.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So I have this pod, and inside that pod, I hope that was the same pod I have used for the, yes, and there was a view, right? Yeah, I need to remove the hash.
So
Actually, I
Ramesh,
want to, yeah,
minus
this
P.
is a container, right? So why are you giving like pod name and trying to describe a container?
I need to check the logs. There is a by mistake.
Remove the pod. Yeah.
Yeah,
Logs.
and now I got it. This is the way we can see the containers logs, right? If something is going wrong in the container, you can find out it from this place. So the command to find out the logs of the container, you can check it from this way. Kubectl logs. This is my pod, and this is my container name. Okay, if you want to find out the container level logs. And there was another container also, right? That is view dash npc, if I'm not wrong. Okay, in the pod. This was, I think, init container. Yeah, you can find out so many things. Okay, so these are the commands which will help you to find out the logs at the container level. So number of pods. So how to find out the name of the containers from the pod? You can use a describe command, and from the describe command you can get the name of the container and you can find out that. Another way to just check out Docker, there is a command called as stats. I don't know how many of you know this command. Docker stats command is there. And if you want to find out the information related to each container related to its CPU utilization, RAM utilization of each container which is running on this worker node or host or maybe master node, you can find out from this command. So this shows that this is my container and how much CPU utilization, how much RAM utilization is there, how much limit is there. All that information you can find out by using Docker stats command. So this command is helpful for you guys. Docker stats. Okay.
So
Please note
Ramesh,
down that.
this list of all the containers, right?
This one?
Docker stats give the CPU utilization on all the containers, not pods.
Containers, individual container
Okay.
in that host.
Can we give the name of individual container after stats to get only particular container details?
I think it should be. Getting it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Ramesh, for troubleshooting purpose, let's say I have a pod and I have 3 containers in that. One of the container is running hot. That is not the application container. That is a sidecar container that is running hot. So how do I identify which container is causing that issue? Is there any way we can check container utilization at pod level?
A container utilization at the pod level. kubectl top pods.
Yeah, like here we have like 10 or 15 containers. It is easy to
I
get it.
got you. I got you. What was the name of the pod? Let me just get the pod name. Kubectl get pods. This is a pod, and okay, you want to top.
Can we get something from cube system? That way, some of them has 2 containers, right? In cube system, namespace containers in pods.
Unknown command. kubectl. This is correct, right? Command. Cube top pod, right?
Pods. Yeah.
Metric. Oh, I have not installed metrics here.
Oh,
Okay, if I install the metrics, then I will get it.
okay, sure. Okay, Ramesh. Yeah.
We can find out. There is a command which I just forgotten right now. We can find out all the containers from the pod also. We
Could
can find out.
kubectl explain pods? I'm not sure.
No. kubectl top command is there, and there is a certain specific kubectl top, and you can give the container information, something like that. It is there. You can use that command to find out the individual pods usage, individual containers usage.
Okay,
So it is showing for the pod wise, but you can see it also. Yeah, I'll just get that command to you guys. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So what we have seen till now, guys, in case you want to find out the logs of pod, how do we do that? kubectl logs and the pod name, right? If you want to find out the logs of a container inside that pod, we have seen the kubectl logs, then the name of the pod, and then the name of the container. We can get the logs about that container. Another important thing is that you can use a command called as a kubectl describe related to, let's say, deployment. You want to find out the logs about the deployment, you can use this command. Okay, thank you. So you can see here, you can see here, these are the events which are occurred, and I think there should be condition also. So there is some conditions as well that you can check it. Here it is not available, but here you can easily find out whatever is going on. Another command which you can use to find out the logs is kubectl get events. This is another command which is available for checking the logs. So you can find out the logs. See, now it shows that, but basically this is something about, see, it is 29 minutes ago it was come. This has happened 28 minutes. This has happened 42 minutes. So you need to check it properly here. Some will show you that it has happened at 45 minutes ago. So this particular column is important, last seen. Okay, and if you want to, let's say, find out certain grep about, let's say, app one. If you want to find out the logs related to app one, you can find out the logs related to app one, whatever things that happened here. If I try to write here kubectl delete pod, and the name of the pod is, let's say, this one, I am deleting this. So what is happening here? Pod. Let me check out kubectl get pods. So this is one of my pods. Now this pod is deleted, new pod will get generated, that is fine. But now we want to see whether this event is captured or not. So I can find out this event at describe level also. I can find out this event at the at the kubectl get events also. So at both locations you can find out this information. So it is now getting deleted, it will get created again. Okay. Now what is the last command which I wanted to show you? How to find out the process related logs. So kubectl logs, and this is the name of your pod. kubectl, this is API server kube ADM master hyphen kube system. So you can find out the logs related to that. So we'll see that. Okay, so this is the logs related to your etcd. These are the logs related to your core DNS. This is a log related to your kube proxy, which you have seen. This is a pod level logs. This is the kubectl logs related to scheduler. This is related to logs related to your view pod and the container of the view. That is the name of the container is view from this pod. Okay, you can see this a view dash npc logs also, we have seen it, right? Okay, so this is something related to system related or pod related logs, how to check them. But now we'll see that about how to check the network related Kubernetes app and network troubleshooting. That also you'll see. But guys, before that, I think we have crossed the time limit. Let's stop for some 10 minutes of time. And once we'll come back, then I think you'll be able to understand it better. Is that okay?
Yeah, so Ramesh, before that, like, so what you're telling is like system logs, daemon logs, anything, right? Master work. So any logs I can validate, right? Or events, or correct?
Yes, you can check each and every
Okay.
log.
And
Yes.
I can do the same with my, if I have a ELK or Splunk, I can do rather than doing this way, right?
Then you can use a metrics. If you have a
File
ELK or ELK,
metric. Okay.
yeah, from that you can check it.
Okay. So to view the logs, what should I be like? I should be I should have any rights, like, I should be admin or I should be a logs. Viewing logs should not be an issue, right? Anyone, any developer or any user, or if a BA analyst, anyone can see, right? It's not like I need to be admin or rights or stuff, right? Viewing log, anyone can do, right?
Yeah, viewing logs can be done by anyone, because if you see the permission which is available on this particular folders, okay, you can see it is for all. For all, it is a read options are there.
Okay.
So the logs which are not having a read option for the others will not be able to viewed by the other people, such as syslog. This is not available for others. So
Oh.
developer will not be able to see the logs of the kubelet or kubectl or Docker.
Okay. So the syslog is the one which, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Okay. Syslog is the one which maybe admin can see rather than not any other user. Okay.
Right. Correct.
Okay. And also anything like I need to grep on, like exception error, or is it like anything else specifically?
You can do that one. You can do that. Let's say that you have tail hyphen 10 or 100F or cat. You can do the cat also, where log syslog, and you want to find out the error at some, what is that, emergency errors. If it is mentioned that it is emergency kind of stuff, so you can specify that grep hyphen I and emergency. So is there any emergency related logs? It will come up. If you want to find out the info related logs, you can check out. You will get all the information related logs. If you want to find out related to errors, you can find out that error logs. You can find out that. Okay, this is the simplest way.
But for log, Ramesh, like how do I make sure, as from a design perspective, how much it will like rolling like 5 MB? How do I design of logs of, because there are too many logs, right? Should I pick MB, GBs, or that design will be cluster itself will take care, or will it rotate it, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then how, or how do I purge it? Or so those kind of things, how do I design that part of it?
There is a concept called as the log rotation for that.
Okay.
Okay, so here you can mention that my file should not go more than 1 MB, or it should get purged when it is it should get purged at 1 MB size, or if it crosses 7 days. That way you can define it.
Oh, so that, okay. So as admin, I can define this so that I can maintain the logs of. So this will be applicable across whether it's a container log, pod logs, or network logs, or anything, right? Is it?
Yes.
This is standard one I can do for every. I mean, I don't have to do, okay, pod, then I have to do container. No, right? It's just that one command I run it for all the logs. It's applicable, right?
No, then see, basically this is what I am talking about, the system related logs.
Okay.
Okay, but if you want to do something like on the pod level, then what you can do, you can deploy the ELK, because there will be hundreds of pods, right? You
Correct.
can't
Correct.
map it, so you can deploy the ELK stack and you can monitor it, and you can write some task. You can create some jobs to purge it or recreate it or like that one. So there, this RSys log concept will not come into picture. You have to use the task to purge the logs or create the new files for the logs.
Okay.
You need to do the housekeeping over there.
Yeah. There are housekeeping there. Yeah. So, do we have any detailed document, Ramesh, on that, or housekeeping all those commands and all? Just want to know. Anything which
No.
we can do later, or I mean, you can send later also, like Piyush or you. But I just want to know because this sometime.
Use the cheat
I will
sheet
try.
of communities.io. I think that would be the best help file for you. It has everything what you're asking for.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, Sonali. Thank you. Okay, I'll check if it anything specific document.
Yeah. Anything specific, let me know because yeah, everything is there. But again,
The
yeah, it's
problem
like
is,
ocean
Abhiram,
line.
I
Yeah.
need to get the timing is the issue for me, right? I need to sit for let's say 5 to 6 hours to complete the documentation, but the time is the problem for me. Okay,
No problem.
all right, but I will not give the excuse for that. I will try to create. I will try to help you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, can we take a break for some time now? Because I need a break. So let's take a break. Can you set up a job on cron to purge logs? Yes, 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 Venkatesh, you are correct. Okay.
Ramesh, before break, just a quick question. You're listing out all the pods, right? We have the command cube get nodes -ho wide. We get all the nodes and even pods as well, right? We have a kubectl command for pods, list out all the pods on wide. Is there anything like where we can list out containers as well using the same command, like similar command that so that it lists the containers also which are running on pods, so that we can get container name instead of running the inspect command?
No, this is what the command. Can you see the Sonali has given one set of the command kubectl top pod and pod name hyphen containers. So this is the only way I can see here. It looks like that, but I don't see anything with this command kubectl get pods.
Okay. Yeah. Other day I was checking, like I got like you can print out
Which
in
one?
JSON format all the list of containers and pods that is there, but I'm just looking if there is any command this way where we can list out even the containers as well. Yeah.
No. It will come with the Docker commands.
Okay. Yeah, Docker, yes.
Otherwise, you have to describe it. Only one command which I got, if you have a pod, and from the pod, if you want to find out the containers, that I can check out with the help of this.
Okay.
Right. Describe as well as the top command is there.
Okay.
Okay.
Or we can use the JSON format, right, to pull out the container name and the image name as well from the pods, right?
Yes, yes, that formatting can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
we
should
can
have
pull
that.
out that way as well, right? Just the specific items, like specific components, we can just list out from the pod, right? Instead of listing, when we do the describe, it lists everything and complete entire set of things what are running in the pod or something. It gives complete history of the pod. Instead of doing that, we can even list out the specific components, right, from that describe command.
Yes, actually, Venkatesh, always using the JSON format to fetch the information is always good practice.
Okay.
Because other commands will just give you the some basic command, but let's say that I want to find out the information about the container which is there in the pod descriptively. So grep command or that will only give the line, but if you are using JSON, it will give the entire stanza out of it. So that is a good part of it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, in exam, I could see some questions in exams that they're asking us to list out some components using the JSON format, not the complete
No,
history of the
for the
pod.
CK it is not coming. For CK it is not coming.
Oh, okay.
For CK it is not. For CK it is coming showing that whether just find out whether there is any pod is whether there is any node which is tainted or not, or whether it is ready or not. Sometime it will ask for the ready, or sometime they will ask for the taint.
Okay. Okay, Ramesh. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Gravit, can you just please stop for some 10 minutes time, and once we'll come back, guys, we'll complete this maintenance part.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys, so let us take one example. We have one scenario to understand how to troubleshoot the Kubernetes cluster, or if something goes wrong with your application, how you can test it. Let me show that quickly, guys, and then we'll start with the application level troubleshooting. So these two things I will take it now. Let me delete this. Okay, so there is one script. I have one script called as script.sh. and I'm going to run this. So how do I run this? I can use the bash command, script.sh. Okay. So what is the enter the worker username? Let's say that I want to, this is Ubuntu. Okay, yes. It is asking me the password. Hopefully it will accept it. Yes, it is accepted. Okay, so we have done some issue in the cluster now with this script, and we don't know what is that issue, and we want to find out. Now what I will do, I will try to deploy. There is some issues happened. So let's see that kubectl create deployment. Let's say app1. I deleted that one, right? So it will now create new one. Image is equal to httpd. Okay, so now let me see that kubectl get pods -o wide. So it has started running, and it is running on the worker one. So let me scale up it. kubectl scale deployment slash app1 and replicas is equal to, let's say 5. And let me see. Okay, everything is running fine. How come? Whether that script has taken impact or not. kubectl get pods, kubectl get nodes. Yeah. Oh, I have not uncorded. Why it is not coming? Yeah. Now you see here, all the pods are going on the worker one only. It is not going on the worker two. Look at this. We have uncorded it, right? We have not kept it ready. It is not. It was ready, right, before some time back. But after this particular, when I hit the executed the script, this went into the not ready mode. Okay, so this is the question of the exam. So how I can now I need to check it. What went wrong with this particular uh, host, because it is not going. When I scale up, it is going on the worker one only. How I can troubleshoot this? So we can see kubectl describe what is the issue happened with the worker node and give the worker two. Oh, I'm so sorry. So kubectl describe node worker two, and now are you getting some information here? As such, no. So condition, these are the conditions. Can you see here? It is showing kubelet stopped posting node status. This is the error coming. That means there is some problem on the worker 2 related to kubelet. And it says that because this kubelet is stopped the posting node status, and that's why master is not able to understand what happened to this node. And that's why it has marked it as a not ready. So there is a problem with some kubelet. So what I need to do, I need to log in into this machine. SSH Ubuntu @worker02. So let me log into this particular sudo -i, and we have to check what is happened with my kubelet, right? So first thing that we can use tail -100f var log syslog, because kubelet is my operating system daemon. It is not a daemon inside the Kubernetes cluster. So I can use grep-i kubelet. And now you see here the Kubernetes node agent, it is stopped. So it shows that my kubelet has been stopped. Okay, so let me see whether it is really stopped. Status kubelet. And it shows that kubelet is loaded, but it is not running. It is inactive. So what should I do? I should start it. This is the same steps you need to follow in the examination, what I have shown you right now. Systemctl enable kubelet. No need of actually specifying enable, but if it is not enabled, it will again create a problem. So start. Now see the status. And it shows now my kubelet is active and running. Now now let me check the logs. Tail-100f var log grep-kubelet, and you should be able to see that is marked world inaccessible. This has no effect and configuration. Okay, and so there is another. So I think there will be somewhere upside that particular message will be there that kubelet has been started. So kubelet has adding a pod watch, watching API server. Okay, everything is coming up fine now. All right. So my kubelet is started. Okay. Now you can describe the pod, describe the node, and you see here the condition. Node ready. Which node ready now? Worker 2. And see the condition here. You see the top at the top. What is the condition? Now it shows that kubelet is ready. Kubelet is posting ready status, app armor enabled. Okay, and now you see the command kubectl get nodes, and it should be ready. So in case anything is wrong on the worker 2 or worker 1, that's it will create a problem. Now if I start scaling up this application, kubectl scale, if I make it 7 here, now pods will start getting deployed on the worker 2 as well. So this is the way we have to troubleshoot the node. And this question comes in the examination. Now we can say that it has started now deploying the pods on the worker 2. Okay, now this is something related to node troubleshooting. But think about that, how, let's say you have deployed one application and now you want to find out what is went wrong with the application. So we are going to now create that scenario for the application troubleshooting. So kubectl one second, kubectl delete. Okay, now let's move ahead and check out how to do that application troubleshooting. So I have one scenario here in the activity guide. It is a debugging application failure, and you can see there.
The shell script which you ran earlier, that stopped the kubelet in worker node.
Yes, it has stopped in the worker node. Yes, correct. I use that command to stop it.
Okay.
Okay, so let me deploy this nginx deployment.yaml. So yeah, we have nginx deployment. So kubectl create -f nginx deployment.
.yaml.
Yeah, sorry. So it is now deployed. You can see here kubectl get pods, and it shows that it is creating the container. So it is running fine. Cool. Now container has started running properly. Okay guys, now let's move ahead and we'll try to create one service. So we have created the resources and it is running now. Deployment is properly running. Okay, and you can see the all the details and you should be able to see it. Now let's create a service to expose the nginx web server. So I'm creating one service called as nginx. Let me use this one. Okay, and it is simple, right? This is my service name. This is kind service. Name of the service is my service. And this is a selector called as app is equal to my app. And ports are, a port is 80 and target port is 82. So what is the difference between target port and port, guys? Anybody has any idea? So to whom we call a target port?
Nginx.
Target is the port and container.
Yes, it is container port, right?
So
Target
service
port is a
port 80
container
is
port.
mapped to container port 82.
Right. And this port is service port. So you have to always keep this in mind. Target port and port. And now there is no, it has not specified what type of the service is this. So what is the default service which will get created? If the service name is like cluster. Very good. Thank you guys. So now,
Ramesh, can you explain one more time that port and target port, please?
okay. So target port is the container port. Target port is called as a container port and port is a service port.
So we're mapping port 80 to 82.
So what is happening? Now this target port, service port is which is 80 is mapped with the port number 82 of the container. This is what the service is. Okay. Is that clear?
I think is the name of app.
Ramesh.
Okay. Now let's see that we are here to, now this exercise is just for the finding out what is the, how to find out the issues in the application. Because once I deploy this kubectl create -f, I'm just deploying the service now. And the service is ready. kubectl get service. Can you see this is my service got created? Okay. Now application is deployed and I have a service also deployed. Now I want to access the application curl 10.1.102 and :80, right? So if everything is fine, yeah, please mute, and you should get the output. But it shows that connection refused. Now how to troubleshoot this issue? So what I will do now, I will try to describe the service kubectl describe service called as my service and see that whether we are able to see anything over there. Look at this interesting stuff. So this is my service, selector is app is equal to my app, and this is the IP address of the service, and that's fine. This is on the running on the port number 80, target is 82, but there is no endpoint. That means the two pods which are running, they are not listed inside this. And that is why when I am trying to curl it, it is not pointing to this. So that means the service which you have created is not actually talking to the pods. So what is that point which decides, what is that parameter which decides the service will talk to the pods? So I have 100 pods running inside my, let's say in the cluster. I'm creating a service. So how this service will direct the request to that couple of pods only? What is that factor which will decide it? Any idea? Did you understand the question? My question is this one. This is the service.
Replica set.
No. And I have a pods. So these are the pods, and there are hundreds of pods are there. Okay, there are so many pods are there. Like this. But out of that, only I want to, whenever any customer comes here to this service, it will just send the traffic to this pod and this pod only. It should not send the traffic to this one. What should we do so that it will send the packet to this pod and this pod only?
We'll assign the label to the specific.
Yes, correct. So that you have to define the labels, because when you define the when you define the service, you have to define the pods based on the label. So if my pod is having a label called as app is equal to Nginx, app is equal to Nginx. So you have to write in the service that say that selector, if the label is app is equal to Nginx, on that pod only you add inside the service as an entry point, endpoints. Okay, so now what we need to see here, guys, that this is the selector which is used, app is equal to my app. And what is the kubectl describe? I have a deployment also, right? What is the deployment name? I forgot it, right? Describe. Let me get the deployment, guys. Get deployment. Yeah, it is Nginx deployment, right? So let me describe it. Describe deploy. Okay, and let me see here now. So is it showing anything, any specific this? And look at this, it is showing that label of this particular deployment is app is equal to Nginx, and the container, a pod template, which is also having a label called as app is equal to Nginx, right? And how I can find out?
Selector is also app equal to Nginx.
Right. And so that means we have not labeled it properly, and that is the reason it is failing. Can I get some more information about the kubectl logs service? I'm not sure. Service, and what is the name of the service? Kubectl get svc, and let me try out the logs. Kubectl logs svc and the my service. I think it will not show because it is not the pod. So pods are used. Okay. Now we have understood that there is a problem with the service. So let me go to the file vi nginx svc, right? That was a file name, if I'm not wrong, YAML. And let me change the selector as app is equal to Nginx. Let me save this and apply it again. Kubectl apply -f and Nginx. Yeah, it is done, right? Now you can see here kubectl describe service called as nginx-svc, if I'm not wrong. my service, sorry. And now look at these endpoints. Okay, so it has got added now. My pods has got added because we have labeled it properly now. Selector is used, app is equal to nginx, and the entry point, the endpoints has been added. So cool. Now let's see that whether we are able to access the application or not.
Ramesh, we can do it other way also, like deployment, like changing in the deployment YAML, what we have in.
Yes, we can do that. So we can change the name of the deployment itself, right?
Yeah.
That is a pod template name. Okay. kubectl. What I want to see now. Okay. Get svc. So now it should work, right?
Well, actually, yeah.
Curl colon 80. Oh my God. It is still not working.
You see the endpoints are listed.
Yeah, endpoints are listed here. See, look at this. Endpoints are listed. This
82? Is it 82 or 80? 82, I guess, right?
We use 80, right? This is the IP address. It is shown here 80. Port number is 80. So how to now diagnose this issue?
I have one question over here also. So Ramesh, could we do ingress over here or something? No.
No,
not required.
Not required.
Only with the help of labels we should be able to do it, right?
Right. So this is label is working now. The point is that traffic is not going to the port number
80.
Container port. It is not going there, right? 80, 82, 82, something like that.
And it is also not going to the one that you were showing in the previous picture, 32018, long time back in the service.
Correct.
Kind node port or something like that.
So what has happened now here? So now let's see. We have defined the service and we have added this endpoint by labeling it properly. So traffic is reaching to the pods, right? But now it is not fetching the whatever the contents are there from these pods. What could be the issue and how I can sort it out now? So
why the port is an unset? When you describe the SVC, why the port is an unset?
Okay, so there is some issue with the port, as you say. Okay, we'll see that one, guys. 1 second. kubectl.
No, the container port may be the issue because maybe the application is not able to run in the 82 port as
Yes. But how to find out on which port this application is running?
Describing pod.
Yes, describe the pod. Which pod should I describe now? Or deployment also it will work, right? If I use the deployment.
I think we can start with deployment first.
Here also you can see. Yeah, look at this. The container port is 80. Your container port is 80 and we have defined target port as 82. That could be the issue, right? That is the issue actually.
Ramesh,
so how to
means where that 82 is defined means in the describe we are able to see the 80 ports, but we are not able to see the 82. Means,
because I want to show you. I want to show you how to troubleshoot application.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the only reason I have.
Meaning, Ramesh, in this case, then container port, service bus both will be 80. Is that how we need to debug it, or?
No, you have to identify that on which port your container is running, and what is the service port.
Correct. Service. In this case, container is port 80 and service is also port 80, right? That's what we understand. Correct.
Think about one situation. I have a service port number, let's say 7001. And the application which is running inside the container is 80. This port should be correct. You can choose any one of this port. You can map it here. But the destination port is wrong, then it will not fetch the information because nothing is running on the port number 82 inside the container. So normally, if you don't specify the port, okay, there are two terminologies right here, port. So this is your service port, right? And another one is your target port. And this is your actual container port. Right, so service port can be defined by you. You can define anything. I can use here 8018, whatever it may be, right? Yes, correct. And I can use here, but this port should be actual port on which your service is running. It may be 80, it may be 88. And you have to define that in the, while defining the service, that port number and target port number. Now, if you see here, vi nginx svc.yaml, the port of the container, port of the service is 80. This is okay, no problem. But what is the port number? Target port is 82. So this is a problem. So what I will do, I will change it.
Since in 82 port, nothing is running.
Ramesh, could we use this command to expose on a particular target port? Is that possible? Target port 82.
No, the command is correct, but our target port is not 82 only, because it is 80. We have given the wrong port because my application inside the container is running on the port number 80, and we are specifying it is 82.
So in the application, you can change it to port 82 to listen there through HTTPD service.
You have to change the HTTPD port
Inside the
container. So that means you have to change the image.
Yeah, but without changing image, is there any container configuration, Docker configuration where the port can be changed?
No. No.
Then you cannot do it. Then you have to define the port, whatever is there.
Right. So target port should be correct. I can change this anything. I can make it, let's say, 80, 90, something like that. I can use this one, 80, 89. This is okay. Or I can make it 80 also. If I don't specify the port here, or if I don't specify the port here, it will check. It will take the same port like what target port is. Okay, so let me put it at 8090 for the sake of understanding and save this. kubectl apply -f nginx-svc.yaml, and it is configured now. Now you can see here kubectl describe svc my service and enter. Now you see that it is showing 8090 port and target port is exactly 80. Now if you see here kubectl get svc, and now this is my cluster IP address, and can I curl it now? Curl IP address. Now I need to provide the 8090 port. If I don't provide this one, it will fail. If I use 80, it will fail. It is failing. See, it is not giving you any output. No acknowledgement. I think timeout error will come. Or if I use here 8090, you should get the Nginx page. See here, you got it. Welcome to Nginx page. Okay, so did you understood, guys, how to troubleshoot the application?
Ramesh, I can use both the 80s on container as well as service port, right? Or
yes,
no?
yes, we can.
But again, that because here we are reporting the, I mean, sorry, not reporting. We are repeating the port. So at a service level and container level, there should not be conflict, right? Because the same port are repeated across both.
Where this one you are saying 8090 and
I was earlier I know you said like the service is 80 and container is also 80. If we change that way, so is that a right way to do that is a question. Basically, I can have my, instead of 7001, what you put in diagram, I can have my service also in 80 and the pod also in, sorry, container was also in 80. Yeah. So,
yeah, that is possible. That is possible. That you can do.
oh, but again, the port are repeating. That's where I was trying to understand, like one
No,
port.
that is okay. You can map the 80 port of this LAN card with the 80 port of this LAN card.
Oh, so there, okay, because of LAN card. Okay, got it now. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. That's a different LAN card. Okay.
Yeah, different IP address, different 65,535 ports are there. So no need to worry. You can use anyone.
Okay.
But this should be where your application is running.
Okay.
Ramesh, one question here. Now let's assume that we have multiple pods and multiple services created for each pod. So how do we check like which services map with which pod? So when you do
this is, you have to just you have to use the describe command.
Okay, apart from okay, but here it just shows the worker node. I mean the cluster IP. It's
no.
It doesn't give me the pod name, right? I just wanted to see the pod name, like which services map with which pod.
See here, no, this is the endpoints. These are the IP addresses of my pods.
Okay, so we don't get anywhere.
My service, yeah, names you don't get. Names you don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm just wondering. Like, yeah, instead of IP, I'm just wondering like, can we get the pod name while describing or verifying so that we can the mapping? I wanted to just see.
We can describe pod and then we can get the service name used in that pod.
From the pod name, if you describe the pod name, whether you will get a service name or not. That is what your question is.
I think we should get
describe that in a very step pod.
You will not get that. In the pod, service definition will not come. In the service, pod will come.
Okay.
I mean the IP is
the label selector and the label matches. If the app equals Nginx, those pods are part of that service.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
One thing I want to, I think I read somewhere, Ramesh, if you have a static pod, right? Don't create it using deployment. Let's say you create a one static pod and put the labels as app equals Nginx on that static pod, which we create by command line, and you create a deployment with let's say with 5 pods, right? And then in that case you have your deployment label selector is equal to app equals Nginx. Now you already have one pod, right, which has the label called app equal to Nginx. In that case, if your selector going to create 5 pods, deployment is going to create 5 pods, but it's going to create only 4 new one, and it will go to add the static pod automatically, I believe, right? Correct. Because it has the same label.
So let's see that now. So I'm running one
pod. Good exercise.
Very nice, actually. Guys, can I apply the label along with this while creating this one?
Yes. Yes.
What is that label?
Yeah.
-L.
Let's say app is equal to Nginx.
Now scale your deployment. I think that will going to add.
Already there are 2 are there. I think I need to. It is not picking up this, guys.
Labels.
It's labels.
-L will be fine.
No, yeah, it is not taking that. Labels. Okay, sorry. Pod 2. Yeah, it is done. Labels is there, right? Okay. kubectl. No, this is the same pod which is having in the let's say having the same this label, right?
So deployment has two endpoint, right? Your I mean sorry, deployment. How many deployment?
There are two pods. The 2 pods are there in the deployment.
So when you scale your 2 to 3, it will not going to create another label, another pod. It will going to add the label which add the pod which you just created with run command.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, correct. kubectl describe. Very nice. You have to be very careful, right? It is adding it. Yeah, it
So
will add.
that's how you can add your existing pods into the deployment, right?
No, this is into the service, you can say.
Yeah, service, yes.
Right. And if I scale the service, if I scale the application deployment, it will automatically add all the pods there. Let's say right now I have one deployment, okay, and there are 2 pods. And if I scale up it,
Because
if I
this has
make
the
it
same label, right? Nginx?
right. Yes, correct. Scale deployment called as Nginx deployment hyphen replicas is equal to, let's say if I use 5.
Let's 3 maybe. Okay, that's fine.
5.
That
Right.
will
So
going to
total
add two new and 2 already there and 1 existing.
correct. So it will add 2 more. So total 6 will be there. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, and 3 more are there.
Ramesh, one more question here.
The labels name is not there. Labels.
Where? This is selected now. This is the label name.
Ramesh, one more thing. Where is the node port? I don't see that.
No, we have not created node port. We have created that service called as a cluster IP.
Okay.
Yeah, what is this? By default, it takes cluster IP. If you don't mention anything, it takes to cluster IP.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
Ramesh, question here is, so now we have created pods, right, using the label app equals Nginx or something like that. So let's assume that we are creating one more pod using a different image, not Nginx. Let's assume that we are doing HTTPD or something else, and we have label app equals to Nginx and some other one. So what does the service do now? Like, since it has one app equals to Nginx, what does
it will load balance it, and it will render the pages from all the pods one by one.
No, you mean, what I mean is, like, if you
What Venkatesh is saying, if you have a deployment which has a label Nginx, one pod, and one pod has a HTTPD label.
Now this is what you are asking me question. Let me see this. I have these 2
HTTPD
pods
image with label app equals to Nginx and something like maybe app equals to HTTPD. The 2 labels, with 2 labels.
I got
then
it.
what will, yeah, okay.
I got it. So this is my app is equal to Nginx label is here on this one. And this is also having an app is equal to Nginx label, right? But here my page is, this is my Nginx image, and this is my HTTPD image. And we have created a service by using a selector called as app is equal to Nginx. So now these 2 pods will get added. Correct? Now, if the customer is trying to access it, so now this is a load balancer activity. Now service will behave as a load balancer. So it will go in the round robin fashion. So first, once you click first, it will go to this location. Second refresh, it may go to the next this particular pod.
Which is not correct, right? Which shouldn't be that way. The designing is very okay. One more thing, like if you have app equals to Nginx and some other label as well included in the HTTPD container. So even then the service will be pulling out this one, right? Because it has the label app equals to Nginx.
Correct.
So Ramesh, path-based routing is not possible here?
Sorry?
Path-based routing.
Yeah, for that purpose, you have to create one more ingress controller here.
Okay.
You can do with the ingress controller.
So
If that is, you have subdomain kind of stuff, right? You are saying you have subdomain stuffs.
Yeah. Correct.
So at the end of the day, we have to be very careful with labels.
Well, yeah, we have to be very careful with the labels.
So labels play a very important key role, actually. I mean,
right. Yep, this entire stuff is related to the key, labels and key and values.
Ramesh, one like where we should define the path-based routing above service. It will be.
No, path-based routing is nothing but you have a in the ingress controller you have to write if you are specifying here. or maybe in the service definition itself if you want to define that.
So, okay.
I have one exercise, application full stack deployment, right? That is the next topic coming up. And in that one, we'll see that we have two databases. One is my read database, another one is my write database. And there we have used the path-based routing. So that time it will get clear. Okay. Abu, is that clear? Any questions specific to me, for me? So do we define all the ports on the YAML file?
Yeah, I was just with regards to where you define the, because originally you had it on the one on YAML. If I can remember, the service port was 80 and the target port was 82. But later we had some, errors. So to troubleshoot that, we have to go to the YAML to correct it. So
Yeah.
So I was just need some clarification on that.
Okay. So, but is it clear now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Arun, you got the command. Sonali has given the command for exposing it, right? Port. Okay, thank you. All right. So this is something about the application troubleshooting. It's interesting exercise, guys, right? Okay, cool. Now,
question, sorry, Ramesh, but it's bothering my mind. Kubernetes node port versus like the load balancer versus which I was debating on. I don't know when should I use and when should I use what.
okay. Let me just recap that.
But
So guys, tell me when to use cluster IP address. Who would like to share this information?
It doesn't need
cluster IP. It has a backend services.
Communication
outside world.
Internal. Then if the communication is internal, then the cluster IP is sufficient.
Right. Correct. So within the cluster, if you want to access the application, you have to use a cluster IP address service.
Otherwise, it is a node port, right? Node port. Otherwise,
within the cluster.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Then there is another one is node port. So when will you use a node port?
Exposed to other.
Exposed to the outside world.
Outside the world.
Exposing to the
service outside world.
So accessing the application from outside cluster, I mean outside cluster, right? Okay, cool. And when we use a load balancer?
Through internet.
External IP.
That's a node port, right? Even external IP.
Load balancer, node port will also help you to access it from over the internet, guys.
Yeah.
Only thing is security things will, because we don't have to expose the node IPs.
Right.
Yeah, node port will go through the worker node. A specific node we'll have to assign. Whereas the load balancer we can specifically route via the app directly.
I think node port, yes, specific IP, but any IP can work to access. I mean, we need to access a specific put the IP address, but doesn't matter that it has to bind with one specific IP. You can access if you have 4 worker node, any worker node IP will work.
Okay, okay, understood. Is there any scenario in which no. Okay. Is there any situation where node port becomes a load balancer or load balancer becomes a node port kind of stuff? Is there any situation where load balancer becomes a node port type of service?
Istio or?
No. A simple example.
In case of static pod?
No.
No, all daemon services within whatever running under Cube systems are all any worker node. It's not available. It is getting shared by other node port. Right? That is the scenario.
No, Partha. No. Anyone?
when auto scaling is applied.
No, not like that.
When we are directing the traffic to the internet, probably that time TCP through TCP, HTTP or whatever.
No.
Ingress?
No. Let me show you that. Let me show you by example only. Okay. So how do I create a expose the application? Let's say I have an application called as kubectl get deployment. This is my application called as Nginx deployment, right? Now, what I will do, I will use, let me delete the kubectl get svc. No, Padmashri, no. It is interesting. I hope that time you understood it, but I think you forgot it. I have explained that time also when the networking topic was going on. Okay, but I can understand that, guys. There are so many topics are there. kubectl, how to create a service from the command line, expose, deployment, called as app. What is the name of the deployment? Nginx deployment. Hyphen type is equal to. Let me first of all use cluster IP hyphen port is equal to 80. So this is within the cluster, right? You can see here kubectl get svc. Now I can access this from the my cluster within the cluster. I cannot access it from the outside because this IP address is not accessible from the outside. This is inside the cluster. Now another service I am creating whose type is node port. Okay. Sorry, I need to give the different name. How I can specify the different name, guys? Can I use hyphen name is equal to node port 1? Okay. Now it is created. Now you see here kubectl get svc. What is the difference happened? This it also gets the cluster IP address. Node port has also got the cluster IP address. Cluster IP address type of the service also gets the cluster IP address. This I can use this IP address to access the application to internally on the port number 80, as well as I can use this IP address of the cluster type curl, okay, within the cluster. So if I create a cluster IP type of the service, or if I create a node port type of the service, both of them will have a cluster IP address. Okay, so and it is working fine. Now, but with the help of node port, I can access it from the outside. So if I have the IP address of my master node, and what is that? Okay, if I have a IP address of this master node, let me just get the IP address, guys. I have just mentioned somewhere right here in the notepad. Yeah, this is the IP address of my master machine. If I go to the control V colon, I have to use node port, right? That is 30036. This is also accessible from the outside. So this is the use of node port. What will happen if I use a load balancer now? kubectl expose. I'm creating a service name called as LP1 and using service type called as a load balancer. Correct, guys? Yeah, it is. I hope that this is correct. And so it is exposed, right? Now you see the difference. kubectl get svc. Look at this LP1. It has also got the cluster IP address. It doesn't have a external IP.
We need to
It
give the
also has
load
got a
balancer. We need to give the load balancer a VIP of the Azure VIP load balancer right here. VIP
right.
IP address.
Hmm.
That is the
So
answer.
yeah, so we have to, so here see guys, I am using the load balancer service as well as the node port service on the my standalone cluster, right? On-premises cluster. This is my on-premises cluster being on the cloud. This is configured by me, right? We are not using a native cluster. So whenever we are not, if you are not using the load balancer name, actual load balancer name, okay, you need to specify the actual load balancer name, then only the traffic will come to the cloud service provider's load balancer, where this will be external IP address, and then it will direct the traffic to the port number called as 32418. Otherwise, right now, this load balancer service and node port service is same, behaving the same now. I can access the same application using a port number 3214 as well. Look at this. This is node port and this is my load balancer type. It is giving the same output. So this is your service called as a load balancer. And right now it is working on some port. Let me just erase this guys so that you can understand it. Okay. Where it is gone. Yeah, okay. So now behind that there are two ports are there. And this is running on some port, let's say 31 something, right? 3100 something. I'm just writing it randomly, guys. Huh? Okay. So this is a node port. So whenever traffic is coming on this one, so this will be coming on this particular port, and then from that it will migrate it. But basically, this behaves like a node port. But if you are specifying a load balancer name here, then what will happen? There will be one more layer here. And this will be your actual cloud load balancer. Okay, so the cloud load balancer, it can be used. So the traffic will come to the cloud load balancer. Okay, you can accept that traffic on the port number 80. Then that traffic will be migrated to the port number 310084 or whatever the name, this port number is there. And then it will migrate the traffic, transfer the traffic to the appropriate ports. What is the advantage of having a load balancer service? I can deploy multiple applications behind this one load balancer. In the node port, we cannot do that. So I have this is my cloud service provider's load balancer, and behind that I can have another application running here as well, another application running here as well. Okay.
Ramesh, the cloud load balancer will send the traffic to some port of the service, and then what will be that port?
This will be the port which is a node port. This node port.
Yeah, node port is from node port. It's routing to the container port, but okay. No.
So guys, what will happen if you are using the load balancer type service? Now this entire stuff, this IP address, okay, :3248418, like this one it will work. Okay, so if you see here, okay, so it will come here. This will direct. You can say that this is my cloud load balancer here as well, like this. I'm just typing it here, cloud load balancer. So whatever the IP address of the cloud load balancer is there, :3100081. So traffic will come to the appropriate port. But normally when we expose the port outside, we give the port number 80 or 443. So that's why the traffic will come on the port number 80 or 443 of the load balancer of the cloud, and then it will come to the service definition, and where the whatever the port number is given, it will direct the traffic to that port number, and then it will go the port traffic to the specific ports.
Ramesh, two questions actually.
Mm-hmm.
So first one, like how will load balancer will be mapped to the service, like node port service, like let's say it's node port service, and how will it be mapped to cloud load balancer? And
no, basically what happens when we create the whenever this particular cluster is deployed on the cloud as a cloud native cluster. Okay, so that time whenever I use a service called as a cloud load balancer or load balancer service, automatically your cluster creates, or cloud service provider creates a load balancer for yourself, for this cluster, for this service. If I am creating a 10 services, it may create a 10 load balancers also.
okay, so you mean to say, so see, if now right now I'm creating a cluster, and I haven't made any communication between nodes with something like VNet or something. So any third party vendor. So even though if I didn't create any communication, if I then also like load balancer will be created automatically.
So if your master node is up and running,
yeah,
then also it will create load balancer service.
Okay.
And it may not work actually because the pods are not deployed, right?
Yeah, actually multiple questions are. So first thing, see, I have one master and one worker node, and I have created a join to them, and it's now a cluster. So one common load balancer created automatically by the cloud provider. So now I bring up the third worker node into my cluster. I mean second worker node into my cluster. So now how will that automatically? So the
That whenever you create a load balancer for any service, that basically service spreads across all the worker nodes. It is a cluster level component services.
Okay, it happens within the Kubernetes level, but not from the cloud provider.
No, it won't happen from the cloud level. The cloud will be there as it is. So multiple worker nodes endpoint will be given inside the service. Sorry, multiple pods endpoints will be given into the service, right? And service is spread across all the worker nodes as a namespace component, not a cluster level component, the namespace component.
Yeah, until now it is clear. Now when it comes to the cloud load, so if I am creating a service called load balancer, in that YAML file I have to specify this is the node port service, you have to expose it to external IP.
Yes, but you have to use a service type called as a load balancer. In that case, then only automatically a load balancer will create it, otherwise not.
So how to define the external IP through the command line?
No, you can use here. There is one option is there. There is one more parameter which we can pass out there. Here, you can pass out the IP address, external IP equal to like this one. So let's say that if I am creating, oh, but I just want to clear that whether Akhil, you got the clarity or not.
Yeah. So, and one more thing. So you mean to say node port also a load balancer until unless we expose it to some external IP, load balancer IP.
Yeah, node port is not allowed. This type of this node port service is not allowed to expose to the load balancer.
Okay.
For that purpose, you need a load balancer service.
No, I'm trying to just get the answer to your question. So when a node port acts as a load balancer.
When there is a type service type is load balancer. Service type is load balancer.
Okay.
I think Akhil, your question is also not clear. Node port is different, and we are comparing when should we use node port, when should we use cluster IP, when should we use a load balancer. That's what we guys are trying to do.
What is the command external IP?
Yeah.
I think there is no space after the IP, Ramesh.
No, I think I need to use a help here. Then only I will. There is one specific small. Yeah, it is an external IP this way. Yeah, it was a small letters only, nothing else. It was same to same, only we have to use small letters.
And this one I got it, Ramesh. So I'm just trying to get your question. I mean, trying to get the answer for your question. Like when a node balancer act as like you asked right initially, 2 minutes ago.
1 second, just 1 second. Give me
Yeah,
1
yeah. Sorry.
second. No, not an issue. I'm just trying somewhere here. And what is the why this error is coming up? Name is equal to, let's say, load balancer 21. It got created. Now, if you see here kubectl get svc, you will see the external IP address. Now, this external IP address is I have just given the dummy one, but this actually is the if it is a cloud native application or cluster, it will give you the load balancer name here or load balancer IP address.
Okay.
One more.
Now this you can add into the DNS.
One more question. NP1, the last line, you have external IP as none. So can it be replaced with actual IP? The last line NP1 node port 10.105.194.119, and then instead of none, I want to have external IP there.
Where here in this node port?
Yeah.
I think so. It will not allow, if I'm not wrong. Let me just try out.
Name also we have to change, right?
It is exposed. kubectl get svc. Yeah, this one is right. Yeah, it is showing. It is giving the external IP address. So now in this case, node port becomes your load balancer kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, now the question was actually
So basically anything that you are providing as a load balancer here, guys. Okay, but ideally I'll tell you one thing. Normally we don't use load balancer, external load balancer with the node port. So if you have a cloud native cluster created, and if you try to say that create a service called as a node port, in that case it will not provide you the external IP address. It will be none always. But if you specifically say that I want to create a load balancer service type, then your cloud service provider will understand it and it will create a load balancer for you, and that IP address or that cloud load balancer name will get reflected here.
So we
This is made for that. This is made for that only, load balancer.
So we can call on this external IP.
Right now will not be, because this is a dummy IP address I have taken. I don't have any IP address I have not pointed out in the cloud service provider, right? So
yeah, but
if this is a front end, if this is a front end, then it should also create a backend for this load balancer. And now nothing is there. It is a dummy.
I used VirtualBox external IP, and then I assigned that using the services external IP port and port, and then it was okay. But I am not sure whether it will go with the multiple containers. because I have only one container.
Yeah, it will work. It will work. It will work with that. Okay,
And
guys.
I use the Helm chart for this. So that's why I wanted to know if command line it can be done.
It can be done. It can be done. You are asking about exposing the port from the outside, right? This can be done.
Yeah, because in the exam, if they will ask expose port, we cannot go and do so much of things, and just we have to do it on the command line.
Yeah, you have to do it from the command line. Mostly avoid using the YAML files there.
Yeah.
And if you want to use the YAML files, you have to go to the kubernetes.io file location, copy the dummy files and create it.
And we lose time during that.
Yeah, right. See, it is very difficult. I'll tell it is very difficult, guys. I'll tell you one thing. I have a session on the examination preparation coming up. I'll see that when the dates is coming up, but that time I will explain you about the exam totally. Don't worry about that.
Like in this case, like if you are able to expose load balancer and node port with external IP, then how we are going to differentiate them?
No, ideally, if you are using node port type of the service, it will not create the load balancer inside the cloud service providers infrastructure. You have to use load balancer.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have a AKS or EKS, okay, and that time if you are using their native services, such as let's say they have Kubernetes, right? This service, if you are trying to create, if you are creating a cluster with this service type, and if I use a service type called as a load balancer, automatically it will create the load balancer. It will create a front-end IP address. It will create a back-end IP addresses. It will map the your pods properly. But if you use a node port service type, it will not create it. Okay, so I think this exercise we'll do when we have a AKS cluster. We are going to deploy one AKS cluster. That time, please remind me about this one. We'll see the exercise again. Okay. But is that clear, Sonali, now? Did you got the difference between what is the load balancer, node port, and cluster IP address?
Yes, Ramesh. Thank you.
Ramesh, can you go to that table, no, the one which you created, right? Node port, this one's the one which you put it, yeah. No, but down, the next one, next page, I think, right? No, in the same, yeah. See here, so one thing I want to understand: cluster IP is from the DNS, right? If I want to that way, and node port is from the Azure CLI, right? And the low, so that's how I would take, and the and the pod IP is from the cluster, right? That's how I
Load
would take.
balancer. Load balancer, no?
Uh-huh.
Load balancer will come from the cloud service provider. Node port
Okay.
will come. Node port IP will come from the your cluster itself, and cluster IP will also come from the cluster itself.
So cluster IP node port will come from the cluster only, whichever Kubernetes cluster I'm creating, and also the
Yeah.
load balancer will come from the DNS or from the external, or that will also from the cluster, no, right?
That will come. Its IP cluster IP address will come from the cluster, but its external IP address will come from the cloud service provider.
Oh, and here the pod IP will be also coming from cluster only, right? Because we add the pod there, so the pod will be also
Yeah,
coming from
that will be given by the view network.
VMnet or Azure CNI or whatever, whichever, right?
Yeah, right. Correct.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
So once again, can you just explain the last one? View.
No. There is a view network, right? We have used.
Correct.
Yeah, so that maintain whenever we get the IP addresses, right, to the pod. So the view network manages that IP addresses to the pod.
Yeah.
And what I was telling is like, the Azure CNI is, if you are using Azure specifically, that's instead of VNet, you can use Azure CNI. That's where the pod IP is created, is what I was trying here.
Yes. You can use Azure CNI. You can use Calico there. Calico is also there, right? Available for on the Azure.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's clear now, guys, right? So did you understood how to troubleshoot the application, how to troubleshoot the node, how to do the maintenance activity, Hope that is clear now today, right? In the next session, guys, we'll be completing the how to deploy the application set, working with the application stack completely. We'll also see the daemon set controller, static pods, and as well as we'll see the deploying logging, that is ELK stack along with the Kibana. So that will be our next session, and then there will be, we'll see about the high availability cluster and cluster upgrade and etcd backup. So in the next session we'll have the application stack. Okay, then we will have the, what is the next topic I said, daemon controller, static pods, and ELK. That will be there in the next session.
It will be on weekend or weekdays?
This will be on Sunday.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and there will be another for the CK that I will discuss later on Saturday.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's session.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh. Yeah, bye-bye. Take care.
Yes, Ramesh, just last one thing. I was just going through this load balancer and node port, but I just figured out from the kubernetes.io that on this, even if we are able to expose the node port to the external IP, it won't ever work. So it's just the load balancer would work with the external IP. Otherwise, even if we are able to expose it, it won't ever work. There was some question online.
No, we can, node port will be, see now just we have exposed the application with the node port.
Yes,
and,
but we won't be ever able to curl it or like do the HTTP:/IP and :port. That won't be possible.
We can do that.
You're able to do it, right?
We can do that.
It wasn't working.
No, it was working. It was working. kubectl. This is my node port, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is my node port 31071.
Yes.
I can go there on the, and I can curl it. Okay, this is my IP address, and this is my port number.
No,
it will work. Just one second. I have done mistake here.
Okay.
I have put it double quote here.
No, external IP I was saying.
No, that is what I'm saying. External node port will never work on the external IP address unless and until it is appropriate. Look at this. This is where.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to confirm. That external
Yeah,
IP address won't work. 20.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So again, I am just explaining. I'm just making one liner here, guys. Load balancer IP address or load balancer comes from the cloud service provider. It is completely external. It is outside the cluster. Okay, this IP address for the load balancer. For the node port, you will not get the external IP address. This is I have just given, but it will not create a actual load balancer inside the cloud service provider if you are using node port service.
Actually, we should raise a ticket for this one because if it is not able to use it, and why it's allowing to create this external.
The problem is that then you have to create a backend pool manually. It is not like that it will not allow. Then you have to create the load balancer manually. You have to create the backend pool manually. So it won't be automatic if you are using a node port. But the same work is done by using the load balancer automatically. Cloud service provider says that use the load balancer for service type. I will create everything for you.
Since Ramesh, we are talking about this, can you just create one scenario where like we'll be using a load balancer and then load balancer, node port, all this stuff in a single like design document, like has a box.
Okay, I will try to show you. I will try to show you in the AKS cluster that time.
Okay, fine, no problem. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that will be clear. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's stop here for the day. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks,
everyone.
Ramesh.
Here, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ramesh. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. All right. Thank you.